Early history of databases. Before databases existed, everything had to be recorded on paper. We had lists, journals, ledgers, and endless archives containing hundreds of thousands or even millions of records contained in filing cabinets. When it was necessary to access one of these records, finding and physically obtaining the record was a slow and laborious task. This word comes from the word labor. There were often problems ranging from misplaced records to fires that wiped out entire archives and destroyed the history of societies, organizations, and governments. There were also security problems because physical access was often easy to gain. The database was created to try and solve these limitations of traditional paper-based information storage. In databases, the files are called records, and the individual data elements in the record, for example, name, phone number, date of birth, are called fields. So in the language of databases, what we're trying to mean is, in the language of databases, whatever file you see on your table or whatever file you see anywhere is called a record. Whatever file you have in your drawer that you've kept, whatever file you have in your filing cabinet, in database language you call it a record. Then, in those files that you have in your cabinets, in your drawers, those tables you draw, phone name, number, age, sex, what, those are called fields in the database language. They are called fields. So we have records, and in records, the data elements we have are called fields. Let's continue. The way these elements are stored has evolved since the early days of databases. They have really evolved. The earliest systems were called the hierarchical and network models. The hierarchical model organized the data in a tree-like structure as shown in figure, and IBM developed this model in the 1960s. So the model looks like that. In 1960s, two models were in use when the concept of computerized database management systems started. It was at the same time that the use of computers became the choice for private organizations. Models used then CODA, SYL, the N/W model, and the IMS, which was IBM's hierarchical model. So those were the two then. Sabri system by IBM was designed to help American Airlines manage reservations data. So whenever they could We've defined what a database is before. So let us define what a database management system is. A database management system is a software package designed to define, manipulate, retrieve, and manage data in a database. So a data management system is what we use to manage the database. It is a software that we use to manage the database. Let's continue and say a database management system generally manipulates the data itself. The data format, file names, field names, record structure, and file structure. It also defines rules to validate and manipulate this data. In other words, a database management system is a combination of hardware and software that can be used to set up and monitor a database and can manage the updation and retrieval of the database that has been stored in it. So the use of a database management system is to make sure that it can get data from the database, put back data into the database, update the data, and delete any record or fields as required by the user. That is what a database management system does. It is the middleman between you who is using the system and the database that stores the records. Now, since we've looked at the other previous file-based system, whereby all we do is keep records in forms of files. We write records in books, we write records in receipt books, pieces of paper, and keep them in the filing cabinet. Let's look at the limitation of such an approach, the file-based system approach. Let's look at its limitations. Limitation 1. Separation and isolation of data. It is difficult to access the data which is isolated and stored in separate files. We can all agree. Imagine we have to generate a single report for of student who is studying in a particular class, his study report, his library book details, and hostel information. All these informations are stored in different files. How do we get all these details in one report? So there is separation and isolation of data, because you cannot keep going from library to maybe financial department, then you go to the hostel department where they have records about the hostel. It is all annoying and tiresome, and chances are high some people will lose the data and will not be able to keep it very well. Assuming you want that of someone maybe in the early 2000s, you may not find those records there. So there is separation and isolation of data. The other limitation of the file-based system approach, or the file-based system way, duplication of data, or call it redundancy. There is uncontrolled duplication of data in the file-based approach. Duplication is waste of space, and it costs time and money to enter the data more than once. Additional space requirements leads to additional costs. Duplication of data means that the data is no longer consistent, which leads to loss of data integrity. So every time new data comes in, instead of updating it, you just duplicate it. You just add the same thing over and over again. Every time someone comes in and you forget where you placed the original data, you write something new again. Hence, there will be duplication of data. You'll find a person like Asimu Samuel having more than 10 files, having almost the same data, because every time someone comes to the hospital, or every time someone comes to the clinic or to the library, new data is written. Every time I go to those places where they keep records, I come as if I'm someone who is new. Instead of updating my data, they just keep writing and writing something new. So it brings a lot of duplication of data. The other limitation is loss of data integrity. Imagine student details and student report card files have student's address in it, and there was a change request for one particular student's address. The program searched only student details file for the address and it updated it correctly. There is another program which prints the student's reports and mails it to the address mentioned in the student report card file. What happens to the report card of the student whose address is being changed? There is a mismatch in the actual address and his report is sent to his address. This mismatch is in different copies of same data is called data inconsistency or loss of data integrity. They're telling you, imagine that you've been keeping files with Martech Business School. Your old files say that you stay in Kiriatete. Now you've shifted to Kinubi or you've shifted to Bujumbura. And then we have a new file called Asimu Samuel, but now he stays in Bujumbura. Now they send someone to send you your details, and that someone uses your old address instead of your updated address because the updated address is no longer visible. You'll find your details being sent to your old address. Because now, instead of updating your previous record that now you've moved it to Bujumbura, we have old and unupdated data that says you're still in Kiriatete. So if we are to send you anything, you will not be able to get it. So that is data inconsistency. Data is not the same. Then we have a limitation of data dependency. A limitation of data dependency. The data stored in files depends upon the application program through which the file was created. It means that the structure of data files is coupled with application program data. So what we mean here is that you may create something with Excel, but Microsoft Word will not be able to open it. Database dependency. Some databases are stubborn. They have a file format of their own, so if you store your data in another format that is not this new format, you'll not be able to read your data. So data will be as useless as you had kept it, because this program has failed to read the data that you have kept for yourself, or the data that you've recorded using another piece of software. We have a limitation of incompatible file formats. We've talked about this. The structure of files are dependent on the application programming languages. The structure of a file generated by a Python program may be different from the structure of a file generated by a C program. The incompatibility of such files makes them difficult to process jointly. Incompatible file formats. Fixed queries of programs. File-based systems are very dependent upon the application developer, who has to write any queries or reports that are required. There was no facility for asking unplanned queries about the data or about the type of data available. So the queries are fixed. The queries are very fixed. Characteristics of the database approach. Characteristics of the database approach. Database approach has been proved far better than traditional file management system. There are many of characteristics that distinguish the database approach from the much older approach of programming with files. In traditional file processing, each user defines and implements the files needed for a specific software application as part of programming the application. For example, one user, the grade reporting office, may keep files on the students and their grades. Programs to print a student's transcript and to enter new grades are implemented as part of the application. A second user, the accounting office, may keep track of students' fees and their payments. Although both users are interested in data about students, each user maintains separate files. So that is the traditional file processing approach. So each user maintains separate files and programs to manipulate these files. Because each requires some data not available from the other user's files, this redundancy is defining and storing data results in wasted storage space and in redundant efforts to maintain common up-to-date data. So that is the brief about the traditional file processing. In the database approach, a single repository maintains data that is defined once and then accessed by various users. In file systems, each application is free to name data elements independently. In contrast, in a database, the names or labels of data are defined once and used repeatedly by queries, transactions, and applications. Which means in the database approach, if someone is spelling Asimu with double I, every receipt that comes out will be spelled Asimu with double I. However, in the file processing approach, mistakes are likely, whereby if the accountant who keeps records about Samuel writes Asimu with a single I instead of double I, and then some other employee, maybe in the human resource department, writes Asimu with double I, there will be what we call data mismatch, whereby because somewhere Asimu with a single I and Asimu with double I are two different people, so there will be data mismatch. So this is advantageous when you use a database approach. Database approach has many characteristics that make it more robust in nature. Let us discuss the main characteristics of the database approach. Number 1, manages information. A database always takes care of its information because information is always helpful for whatever work we do. It manages all the information that is required to us. Managing information by using a database, we become more deliberated user of our data. We become free because a database makes it easier for one to manage their data. So one can easily delete their data, one can easily update their data without going from department to department or from branch to branch, collecting files and keeping them together in a storage space. So that is characteristic number 1, manages information. Number 2 is easy operation implementation. Easy operation implementation. All the operations like insert, delete, update, search, etc. are carried out in a flexible and easy way. Database makes it very simple to implement these operations. A user with little knowledge can perform these operations. This characteristic of database makes it more powerful. So such a characteristic makes this database approach even more powerful, because someone can easily search for a record very easily. Someone can easily update a record very easily. Someone can easily search for a record, someone can easily insert something new in the record. So believe me, this makes everything easy on the database approach. Characteristic number 3, multiple views of database. Multiple views of a database. What do we mean here? Basically, a view is a subset of the database. A view is a subset of a database. A view is defined and devoted for a particular user of the system. Different users of the system may have different views of the same system. Every view contains only the data of interest to a user or a group of users. It is the responsibility of the users to be aware of how and where the data of their interest is stored. For example, with the search a design of a database, I'm explaining. For the search a design of a database, the finance department will only look at finances. The kitchen department or the food department will only look at the budget of food and everything related to the food, even if it is the same database. The human resource will only look at the employees he or she has, what they do and how they are supposed to do it, even if it is the same database. So such multiple views, which we've called a subset of the data, can easily help one manage the database. They can easily help one manage the database. So everyone in their specific department will look at something specific, which means that no one will be able to peep in the other's data, and no one will be able to delete or update data that is not theirs, even if it is the same database. The other characteristic is data for specific purpose. That is a characteristic, data for a specific purpose. A database is designed for data of specific purpose. For example, a database of student management system is designed to maintain the record of students' marks, fees, and attendance, etc. This data has a specific purpose for maintaining students' records. Okay, so if it is a school, the database it will create will be a students management system, which means the database they will create will have only keep students data. If it is a district, then it will only keep records for the district. If it is the police, then it will only keep, that database will be designed to create, or its specific purpose will be to keep records of the criminals, files, crimes committed, penalties, etc. So for you should not create a database if it has no specific purpose. You shouldn't. So data for specific purpose is a characteristic of the database approach. The other characteristic is it has users of specific interest. It has users of specific interest. A database always has some indented group of users and applications in which these user groups are interested. For example, in a library system, there are 3 users: official administration of the college, the librarian, and the student. Hope this is clear. Every system or a database approach has a characteristic that says it has users of specific interest. We are talking about students who will want something from the library. Those are people of or users of specific interest. We're talking about the librarian, who is the middleman, who will be able to advise and maybe help these students search for their books and try to look for something they want. Those are also users of specific interest, librarians. And then we have official administration of the college. These are the users who are supposed to buy books and keep them in the library. These are the users who are supposed to build that library and maintain it. So all these 3 have specific interest. We have a characteristic of representing some aspects of real-world application. Represent some aspects of real-world applications. A database represents some features of real-world applications. Any change in the real world is reflected in the database. If we have some changes in our real applications like railway reservation systems, then it will be reflected in the database too. So anything you edit will directly be updated in the database at that very time. For example, if it is a football match in those modern countries, the moment you score in the real world, the moment you score, the database will realize that you've scored, and then it will update itself that now this team has maybe 2 points, or this team has 2 goals. I'll use another example. In case you are paid in the real world, in case you've been paid your salary in the real world, the moment salary lands on your phone or on your account, the database will automatically update itself that so and so has received this amount of money. That is why we're saying that the database approach represents some aspects of real-world applications. What happens in the real world will obviously and automatically be updated in the database world. We have the other characteristic number 7, self-describing nature. A database is of self-describing nature. It always describes and narrates itself. It contains the description of the whole data structure, the constraints and the variables. It makes it different from traditional file management system, in which definition was not the part of the application program. These definitions are used by the users and the database management system software when needed. So what do we mean here? That if a database is self-describing in nature, this means that if you search for Asimwe Samuel, the database will bring up maybe the first name, second name, age, contact, location, what he does, etc. So it is self-describing. You give it one term or one search term, and it itself will automatically bring out whatever is related to that term. Just like Google does. You search for a song, and then to give you options in images, videos, and all other relevant searches. Then we have the other characteristic called the logical relationship between records and data. There is a logical relationship between records and data. A database gives a logical relationship between its records and data. So a user can access various records depending upon the logical conditions by a single query from the database. The logical relationship between records and data. If you search for Asimwe's age or Samuel's age, it will bring data that is related to the age, not data related to the food. Just like you ask Google about a specific singer or a specific footballer, it will bring data related to that specific bowler or footballer. It will tell you about their age, tell you about the number of kids they have, tell you where these people go for maybe on their weekends. It will tell you what they own, the number of houses, money they get paid, etc. So the more specific your search results are, or the more specific what you state, what you're searching for, the more relevant data you get. And then our last characteristic will be shelter between the program and data. Shelter between program and data. In traditional file management systems, if any user makes changes in the structure of a file, then all the programs accessed by that file needed to be changed. In traditional file management system, if any user makes changes in the structure of a file, then all the programs accessed by that file need to be changed. I don't know if this is self-explanatory. The structure of the data files is defined by the application programs. So this is another characteristic of the database approach. Shelter between programs and data. We are saying that in the traditional file management system, if any user, if you change a file and you get it from drawer A and put it in drawer B, everything that is connected to it should move from drawer A to drawer B. If you leave it there, data will be lost. If you leave it there, there will be data mismatch. That is the database approach.